Dial in.
You get in there. Get in there. Come on.
Oh, I need a drink.
Wow.
Stronger than water.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Welcome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. This show has chopped and changed so many times throughout the evening. It's unbelievable. Boys, I'm going to say hello to you first. How are you?
I'm putting myself a brandy. I wasn't expecting to tonight. I'm not going to lie, but I need that after that game. Jesus Christ, man. First thing I did is just check the pulse, make sure it's still there. Wow. Ultimately, I'm on cloud nine because that was an epic win for Newcastle United. I'm absolutely buzzing that we got the win in that game.
I know.
Good.
Same.
Just move on. Let's just get through.
Look, like you, Pete, I said to Chris, I was cramping up trying to come up the stairs. I was like, you're just so tense from that. Chris, how are you?
Oh, mate. Do you know what? I'm so tired. My throat is now killing because I've just been screaming in the living room. We had a new next door neighbour move in about 3 days ago. He's probably thinking, in the middle of Liverpool, why is this fella next door going nuts? Well, he now knows I'm a Newcastle United fan. Like, that was unbelievable. And even though I am drained, I am tired. I've been in London today. I got home at like 7:30 tonight. Sat down, watched the game, having my tea. And the first half, I was like, that first half had everything. It was like one of those games where you just like, you know, how could you even summarise that first half? And then the second half, like the commentator said at the end of the game, didn't he? Arguably one of the best Premier League games ever. And you know what? On reflection, might not be far off. My throat is literally hanging by a thread. I cannot believe those scenes. But on a personal note, boys, very, very tired. But wow. Do I feel good? That is, I mean, we'll get into it. We will get into it. But for anybody who was just purely focusing on the Newcastle United game, and I do not blame you if you were, check the other results out. And then you'll realise how huge that result was, how huge it was. Daz, how are you?
I don't know. I'm just all over the place. I'm looking at a reply from my Leeds United loving brother-in-law. He says, absolutely robbed. Great game, though. Keeper should have stopped 3 of these. Robbed? How are you robbed, man? I will see you on Sunday, Daniel. I'm going for you, especially when you're sitting at half-time. I'm going for you. Right. Okay, let's start off, boys. Obviously, this is, first of all, let's set the tone. This is the reaction show for Newcastle United versus Leeds United. We're not going to start with the game first because there was news, sad news at the start before the game on a diagnosis for Kevin Keegan. He's been diagnosed with cancer. Everyone knows Kevin Keegan. He's the reason I support Newcastle. As I told the story before, when I was 11, I read about him. On his way back to Newcastle to save the club from relegation, and that started my love affair with Newcastle. Along with them coming back the second time we returned, coming back on my birthday, that was a nice birthday present. Of course, Mike Ashley ruined it after that, but Kevin Keegan, we wish him all the best, and our prayers go out for Kevin Keegan. I know you boys echo the same.
Absolutely. Sorry, Pete, go on. Were you going to say something then, mate? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, carry on.
No, I was. Do you know what? I just wanted, like, Kevin Keegan. I don't need to say anything really, do I? An absolute legend of the club. So obviously, all of our thoughts and best wishes to Kevin Keegan and his family. Obviously, I've just been desperately searching in the chat there. I also want to give a shout out to Lynn Simpson. Lynn Simpson's just put this in the chat. That was for my mum, whose funeral was today. Man, the gap. So, Lynn, thoughts with you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope today went as well as it could do. But yeah, we're thinking of you, and yeah.
Yeah, it was the word I used was gutting to hear the news about Kevin Keegan. But if there's any way to give him the strength to battle through this, that game was there tonight. 4-3, Newcastle United, St James's Park. That is the type of game that Kevin Keegan lived for. So that was the players, that was the club, that was the manager, that was the fans sending love to Kevin Keegan in that performance and that result tonight. So best wishes, Kevin Keegan. Know you're going to give it all you got, and we are right behind you the whole way. That is for sure. So come on, King Kev, keep fighting.
It had to be 4-3, didn't it, boys? But 4-3 in our favour.
Yeah.
4-3 in our favour. Yeah.
What a tribute tonight it was. What? Let's get into this, because there's not much left in the tank, boys. But we have to get through this because there's a lot happening in this. But first of all, these are coming off. These bad boys are coming off. It's about time. Let's go, boys. A few less pictures because we're a bit stuck for time. So let's get into this. This is the Newcastle team news. Well, I had a picture. I don't know where it's gone to. Maybe I'll find it in a second. I can read it out to you if we don't know. I have it here. Here we are. Boom. So changes are Murphy is on the bench. Barnes is in on the right. Wissa on the bench. Nick Valdemada is in. No Longstaff in the Leeds squad either. Anthony, you want to say on the selection, boys?
Not really. The surprise for me was in the opposition team, if I'm going to be honest with you. Okafor on the bench, Tanaka on the bench was a bit of a surprise for me. I think there was one other, but I can't remember one of the other lads that was on the bench. They were the big surprises for me in the how Leeds set up, because I thought Okafor and Tanaka would play, but and obviously Sean Longstaff not being in the squad, seeing as he came off the bench against Man United, thought he might be on the bench at least at St James's Park, not on the bench at all. Not even in the squad. That was a big surprise. So for me, it was more of the surprises with Leeds than anything else. Obviously, I'd mentioned before I expected Nick Valdemada to start this game because we just started back-to-back games. So it kind of made sense that it was going to happen. Everything else in the team, kind of expected it, to be honest. It was as you were for me.
Chris, how about for you? Anything that surprised you as I still tried to look for pictures?
Yeah, no, not really. No, I think I did you boys a voice note, didn't I? When I was on my way home, and yeah, you know, we mentioned, didn't we, in the last game that we fought. Well, I thought Pete. I know you disagreed. I thought Nick Valdemada would start against Palace, and you felt, didn't you, Pete, that Wissa would, and then Wissa obviously did. And then you said in the reaction, well, that means Valdemada starting against Leeds, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And I think Jacob Murphy had a poor game against Palace, so the fact that he was dropped as well didn't surprise me. So yeah, no surprises. And boys, I was happy with the lineup. Simple as I was happy with the lineup. I thought we've got enough here. We've got more than enough. And I must admit, I was really, really pleased to see Louis Miley keep his position as well, because he deserves it. He's been absolutely outstanding in that right back position. And as much as I love Tino Livramento, it's going to be very hard to displace Louis Miley at the minute, I have to say. Boys, just before I come to, Daz, just before I pass back to you, mate, I'm going to just jump into a super chat that we've received, and it comes from Benny Boy. Thank you very much, Benny Boy, for the super chat. Much appreciated. Top man. And Benny Boy says, supporting Newcastle should come with a health, shouldn't it? Yeah, shouldn't it just? Supporting Newcastle should come with a health warning. What an unbelievable result. To those who think Eddie has lost the dressing room, watch that back. The heart of lines tonight. Benny, I couldn't have put it any better myself, mate. Couldn't have put it any better myself.
Love it, Benny Boy. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Brilliant, that.
In Eddie, we trust.
Yes.
Nice one, Billy boy.
Just before we skip, we've had a couple of new members. Jamie Bruton, thank you for becoming a Loaded Ultra. Dunnell, thank you also for becoming a Loaded Ultra. Novo Castrier as well.
Again.
Thank you very much. Novo just does it every show. I love it. Novo, just keep becoming a member, mate. We love it. And Samsonite Dove, who has been a member for a year. Thank you very much, Samsonite. And he says best wishes to KK and, of course, to Shah as well. And we'll touch on that a little bit later on.
Yes.
Sorry, Daz. I keep saying this. I'm just going to do one more. We've just had another super chat. Checkmeister, thank you so much. Buzzing 4-3. That was for KK. Get well soon, King. Oh, these super chats, man. Spot on.
I have a feeling these super chats may keep us up all night, boys. Which was not the plan. But let's get into this game, and I will try and fly through it. Okay. First half, Leeds show up in the opening exchanges. Shar is caught for pace in one exchange. Shar is a suspect for a free header, and this is again in the opening 5 minutes. Early yellow for Malick Thiaw, not ideal start for Newcastle. Shar with the ball in the net on 13 minutes, but it was a challenge from the keeper. He did kind of connect with his arm, and that allowed the keeper to drop the ball. So it was a free out. I don't think we can complain. Jump in, boys, with anything you want along the way here, because we've got a lot to get through. Newcastle, lucky the Leeds crosses aren't finding anyone at that stage, because they were getting a few in the box. 24 minutes, Pope save from a Stack shot. That Stack is actually a decent player, by the way. 24 minutes again, and same 24th minute, Tonali shot deflected for a corner. Newcastle making Leeds look a lot better than they actually were, is what my comment here then. 30 minutes, Barnes has a shot saved. In 31 minutes, Malick Thiaw with a fuck up where he slips. DC Dominic Calvert-Lewin passes the ball to Aaronson, and he slots it home. Malick Thiaw not having the best game at this stage.
You put that on?
Oh, I had that comment there, and while Daz was talking, I thought I'd leave that there. The comments, and I just popped that on while Daz was talking. Sorry, Daz, carry on.
Say, Chris, you should be listening.
I didn't mean to distract you.
Yeah. So, boys, want to touch on Leeds' opener?
Look, I'm only going to say this once, really, throughout the game. Malick Thiaw had an absolute stinker today. He had an absolute stinker. He probably could have and should have been taken off before half time. His head was gone. Like, his head was absolutely gone after the yellow card. His head wasn't in it. He was making mistake after mistake. And then that mistake for the goal is uncharacteristic. That is not what we know from Malick Thiaw. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone needs to jump on Malick Thiaw and give him loads and loads of stick. It's one game. He's been immense for us this season. But look, if we're all honest with ourselves, he had an absolute stinker. Decent finish from Aaronson. There's a reason why they played him today, and they played him where they played him is to maximise his pace on the counter. And, you know, it's a good finish. Pope nearly gets to it, but it's right in the corner. It's a you know what? It's a decent goal. I can't even try and play it down. It was a good strike, but it came from our mistake. But not just Malick Thiaw, just so many misplaced passes were happening in that moment leading up to that goal. We just couldn't keep the ball, and it became a bit of a theme throughout the game where we just couldn't keep the ball. And yeah, we'll just put it down to a one-off stinker from Malick Thiaw, but decent goal from Aaronson.
Sorry, Pete, I've just after seeing the table. Oh my god, Chris, thoughts on the Leeds' first goal on Malick Thiaw's?
Iron Monkey. I've got to say, Iron Monkey. You're seeing them, mate. You are seeing them. Yeah, do you know what? It was, Pete's right, uncharacteristic mistake. But it was the start of a couple of other mistakes as well. But yeah. I mean, do you know what? It was a slip, wasn't it? Or actually, I say it was a slip. I think he actually kicked the ground, which is quite unusual, really. So yeah, obviously mistake from Malick Thiaw. I think it was Dominic Calvert-Lewin who capitalised on it, wasn't it? And then obviously laid it off to Brenden Aaronson. And yeah, good finish. Brenden Aaronson, when he first joined Leeds, he looked a real player, and he's gone off the boil a little bit in recent times, but he was absolutely outstanding tonight. I've seen that a few times in the comments. Brenden Aaronson was unbelievable. But yeah, mistake on our part. Yeah, and can't really start pointing the finger at anyone else other than Malick Thiaw, unfortunately. But those things happen. Malick Thiaw has been outstanding this season, and unfortunately, a bit of a faux pas of a performance this evening. But yeah, it was disappointing to go 1-0 down because the game was very much in the balance, and yeah, very disappointing. But yeah, one of those.
There are nearly 800 people watching us live across X and YouTube. Get yourself onto YouTube. Get involved in the chat as well. The link is below the link you're watching from X. So get in there and hit that like button as well. Subscribe if you're new. You'll enable the chat. Right, let's move on. 4 minutes later, Miley cross after a Bruno ball. Bruno again to Gordon, who does well, and as does Big Nick. Barnes puts it in the back of the net. 1-1, game on. We needed that. We need to build on that momentum then after that point. But thoughts on Barnes' goal, Pete? First one.
Superb finish from the lad, and I'm just talking up until this point in the game. The lad that was making things happen for Newcastle United. I actually loved watching Harvey Barnes on the right hand side today, because it gave me a fresh mindset of what we could potentially do with him on the right. And we know it's not his position. We know he doesn't always have great games there. But what I loved about Barnes, and it links to the goal and what happens, he almost gets and has the allowance to have free reign. So he's not just stuck on the right like Murphy is, stuck to it in touch to his byline. What he does, he floats in and around. So he does his defensive work, but he can also join Baltimore in attack. He was drifting out onto the left-hand side. He's literally been given free reign to just roam around the pitch and try and make things happen. And that's how the goal comes about, because he drifts inside into the middle of the pitch. Nick Baltimore, probably the first time in the game he actually holds up the ball well. And he manages to release Harvey Barnes, and it's a lovely finish, left-footed. It's not even really into the corner, but it's too quick for the keeper to get anything on it. And at that point, it's a lifeline. You're thinking, right, we're back in this now, because we were asking a lot of questions of Leeds. As soon as they scored, it's almost like it gave us the kick up the backside to get going. It was like, oh, right, now we need to play. It's a shame we have to wait until we're 1-0 down to do that, but it gave us a kick. We had Tonali bombing on, pressing and pushing the Leeds back. You had Gordon pressing and pushing Leeds back. You had Bruno and Joelinton. Jesus Christ, man. He was, again, I know he had these moments, but he was an absolute monster in his pressing and in that little pocket of the 10, just picking up these little spaces and being able to play, but also his pressing forward. And all of that accumulates to allow Barnes to just drift and find these little pockets of space. And it's a beautiful finish. And we come to expect it from Harvey Barnes, because we know Harvey Barnes is an elite finisher. We know he is a top goal scorer. We know he can put it in the back of the net. So as soon as he's in that position, I was exactly what Friday was doing. Fucking Harvey Barnes. That's what I was saying.
Chris, thoughts on Barnes first?
The only thing I'd add to what Peter's very, very well articulated is I loved the persistence from Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon found himself on the right-hand side, which we've discussed on many occasions, haven't we, about maybe Anthony Gordon wouldn't be so bad on the right-hand side. But anyway, he uncharacteristically is on the right-hand side, and he's persistent. He challenges for the ball again, and then knocks the ball onto Nick Voltemade, who, as Pete describes, hold the ball up very well, little flick off, which we know Nick Voltemade is all about. And yeah, it's a really smart finish. It's a really, really smart finish from Harvey Barnes. And really, you could argue, boys, there's not many other, if any, other players in the squad who you'd want the ball to fall to in that area within the box, because Harvey Barnes, as we know, is a finisher. He's deadly. But yeah, I just wanted to give props to Anthony Gordon, because us three, as well as many people in the chat, have given him a bit of stick, and rightly so, by the way. But I liked the persistence. I liked the fact he never gave up on it, and he effectively, for me, made that opportunity, as well as Nick Voltemade did with it, and as well as Harvey Barnes did with it. It all stemmed from Anthony Gordon. So fair play to Anthony Gordon on that one.
If you're watching the show as well, retweet our tweets, get the link sent out. We're heading towards 1K. It'd be nice to hit 1K on a night where we got a victory 4-3. Okay, right. So let's carry on. Gordon free kick bounces and hits the post. And the 39 minutes. 39 minutes again. J7 in, but couldn't find a man. He should have probably released it a bit earlier. Gordon, like you said, Chris, Gordon showing intensity and trying to push for the lead. Some good crosses in the box. 46 minutes. Leeds get a penalty. When the ball hits Malick Thiaw on the arm as he was falling over, or maybe he was being pushed over. VAR don't overrule it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores, takes Leeds to a 2-1 up at half time. Pope was sent the wrong way in the penalty. It was all pretty much against the run of play. Well, actually, it wasn't even before half time. This is because there's more to come. But boys, thoughts on that penalty? You're on mute, Pete.
Oh, you're on mute, Pete.
My bad. Short and sweet for me. It was a penalty. It was a penalty. I'm not quite sure what he's doing with his hand. He might have been pushed, but I don't think he was. I think he was already partly going to ground anyway. You could probably argue he needed to be a little bit stronger in that situation. He was having a big... To be fair, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was winning a lot of the physical battles against Malick Thiaw, which you don't normally see happen, which kind of leans to how well he played in that game, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I can't believe I'm saying it, but yeah, he actually played really, really well. And he just overpowered him. Malick Thiaw gets to ground, his arms out, it hits him. I'm gonna be honest. If that was the opposite way round, I'd be absolutely calling for a penalty. Yeah. I'd be saying that's a stonewaller. So yeah. I'm not going to say anything else. It was a penalty all day long. The bit I'm disappointed with, lads, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin always goes to the goalkeeper's left. So I don't understand why Pope hasn't gone that way. That's the way he always goes. He always goes down that side. I think he even scored down that side against Newcastle for Everton. Like, he always does it, and I was just a bit frustrated with it. Pope's Pope. He does his homework. He's a good shot, penalty saver, to be fair. But I was just a bit like, I just expected Pope to go to the left because that's where he normally goes. And actually, it would have just been a routine save because it wasn't a great penalty. It wasn't like it was in the far corner or the side netting. It was just to the left hand side. So a bit disappointed with that, but it was a penalty. Just frustrated about the fact that it was right before half time. As we were in the ascendancy, lads, we were in the ascendancy at that point. We looked like we were the ones that were going to get the next goal, and that was the disappointing thing, that we gifted them an opportunity to take the lead again.
Yeah, just before we come to you, Chris, update from Keith Downey. Fabian Schär has been taken to hospital with an ankle injury. Eddie Howe says it looks like a bad injury, unfortunately, and he's a huge player for us. So get well soon, Fabian Schär. Chris,
I'll be honest with you, I thought it was an ACL. It looked like the way he landed, it was an ACL. Yeah. So actually, it's more pleasing that it's an ankle injury. But let's just hope it's not a break. Let's just hope that it's not anything majorly serious. But let's see.
Yeah, Chris, Anthony, you want to say on the penalty for Leeds?
No, not well. Only that I agree with Pete. I think it was a penalty. If the roles were reversed, I would want a penalty because he is going to ground, but you see the arm move towards the ball, and really, as soon as you see that, if he'd have fell and his arm stayed, I know this sounds odd, but if his arm had stayed straight and then it hit the ball, you could argue that maybe it was his momentum, but as he's going to ground, you see his arm go towards the ball. So when I watched the replay, there was no way VAR would intervene in and overturning it. There was no way. And I actually think it was one of those where even if the ref hadn't given it, I think VAR would have said, go and look at that. And I think because you see, as he's going towards the ground, you see his arm go towards the ball. So it's a penalty for me.
I'd like to see a better angle of what happened. Was he kind of pushed in some way? But I'm sure VAR would have checked it. Whether they would have overturned it, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on, because we have another penalty to talk about. Our penalty claim, I should say, on the 50th minute, when J7 does a bit of a wander and it was some simulation looking for a pen and all for us. He gets a yellow card for his efforts. But I'm also said we're getting nothing from the ref at that stage, but it was a dive, lads, yeah.
Sorry, Pete. No, do you know what? I think it's one of them that's in the middle. I'm not saying it was a foul, and I'm not saying it was a dive. I think it was I think there was contact, but was there enough contact for him to go down how he did? Probably not. But I think I genuinely do think the booking was harsh. I do think the booking was harsh because there was some contact there. But is it a penalty? Probably not. There's not enough. But I do think there is contact there, and I do think because when you watch the replay, he gets a little bit sandwiched, and then you kind of see a nudge, and then you see his leg trapped, and you think, well, he is going over, and maybe it's the fact that he's turned around and gone like that, and that's why the referee's gone, yeah, you're taking the mick now. If he hadn't have claimed for it, maybe the referee would have just gone no foul, carry on. I don't know. What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty. Personally, when I watched it back in real time, I thought it was a penalty.
Yeah, I did. I was screaming,
and I thought the referee was going to blow and just point to the spot. I just thought it was a penalty. But when you watch it from the other angle, he's already going down before contact's then made, and then he almost kind of simulates it, which players do. You've got to do it nowadays. Like you've got to kind of simulate the movement in order to let the referee know, because the referee won't help you out in these situations. So I wasn't mad at Joelinton doing it, but there just wasn't enough contact for it to be a decision for the referee to make. I actually, for once, and the referee I didn't think had a great game, but I actually thought the referee was in a great position to see it. It was in direct line to be able to see if there was any proper contact. So yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty.
Right, we've hit the 1K, boys. There's 1,000 people watching. Make sure you get onto YouTube as well and smash that like button, anyone that is in there. Right, let's get into that second half, because as double change straight away, Botman on, Malick Thiaw off. As we said, he had a stinker today. Now, he's still my player of the season so far, but a stinker today. Everyone's allowed an off day. Tino on, Tonali off. Surprising maybe that Tonali was coming off, but that meant that Miley had made his first switch of the night. Back he went to defensive midfielder, Tino went to right back, and Shar moves across and to allow Botman in. Like for like, as we like to say in this show, the setup 4-3-3. Newcastle will play 4-3-3. 52 minutes saved by Pope after a stack run and Aaronson shot. 54 minutes. Miley, this is the big one. Miley keeps, or one of the big ones, keeps a bad pass from Bruno in at the corner. He does really, really well to keep the ball in. Gets his way back to Bruno outside of the boot. Cross to J7 with a diving header. 2-2. Game on again. Boys, thoughts on Pete? We'll go to you first. Thoughts on J7's goal?
What a goal. What a goal that was. I just thought it was a superb piece of football all round. Yes, bad pass initially, but Louis Miley's quicker than people think. Got there, managed to keep the ball in, recycles the ball back to Bruno. But that Bruno outside of the foot pass, that pass stroke cross into the box, just the bend on it, and Joelinton to get something on it in the image from behind Joelinton as the ball comes in, the way he kind of gets his head on it, and there's only one place he could score it, and it was literally into the side net, and it's an outstanding finish. It's a great header from Joelinton, and I was so glad he got that goal. He deserved that goal. He was absolutely brilliant tonight. Honestly, since he's come back in the team against Man United, he's been excellent. Been so impressive. He just seems to get better. He's got better and better each game has gone along. I don't know what Eddie Howe said to him, but seriously, he's playing some really, really good stuff. Yes, he's misplaced a couple of passes here and there in the game. There was other players that misplaced a lot more passes than Joelinton did. But what he gave us on that pitch, he was a driving force for us. And him getting that goal just set the tone for the rest of the game, because at that point, the fans were up. And I've got to, you know what, I've got to give praise. Anyone that was there that's watching tonight, that atmosphere was unbelievable. And I was watching it on TV. I was praying. I wish I was there. That atmosphere was unbelievable, and that was before the winning goal, etc. You guys kept the players, the team going. You were absolutely superb, and you can hear it. Everyone's up. Bruno's getting the crowd G'd up even more, and it's game on. It's game on time at this point.
Chris, J7's goal to make it 2-2.
It was funny. Me and Pete were waxing lyrical. It was like step by step. Pete was like, "Oh, Miley, it was incredible," and then I'm going, "Bruno, the pass," and then what we did, neither of us mentioned in the chat at the time, the header from Joelinton, unbelievable from somebody who's not renowned for his heading. Unbelievable header. I mean, look at the angle of that. You'd struggle to see a better goal this weekend. This week. You struggle because from Louis Miley not giving up, getting into the corner flag, keeping the ball in play, laying it off to Bruno outside of the foot, Joelinton jumping, rising like a salmon. Unbelievable. Well, what a great finish. And I tell you what, boys, what I'll end on that is a quick question for you both. Is there a more informed central midfielder in the Premier League right now than Bruno Guimarães? Because I don't think there is. I do not think there is. He's outstanding.
You could maybe argue Declan Rice, but I would put
Declan Rice is up there. Yeah.
I would definitely 1 and 2, Bruno and Declan Rice. Choose whichever one you want to choose. I'm choosing Bruno Guimarães naturally, but you're right. The lads.
Is there a better centre midfielder, right back, and centre back than Lewis Miley, who's only 19? Right. Next thing we go to is Super Chat, because I think the Super Chat in from Kyle.
Yes. Thank you, Dazzler. Yes, I'm going to go straight to Mr. Kyle Utterson. Kyle, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Kyle. Kyle says, guys, great show as always. Love that, Kyle. Great to be back in the top 6 with the upturn of form and with Liverpool out of form. Do you think top 4 is on? Oh, Kyle, you devilish man.
Can we come back to that?
We'll come back to that, Kyle. Great question, though. Thank you for the super chat. Daz, just before we move on very, very quickly, I'll just get through a couple of other quick ones. And Kyle's just become a member. Kyle, good man. Loads of old chat. Love that, Kyle. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. Adam McCarthy, who's been a member for 47 months. Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you so much. Evening, lads. Just got back in. Get in, Barnes. Love that, Adam.
Old school,
Love
Adam.
that. Old school, Adam. Thank you so much, mate. And the final super chat for now is from Biff Dubai Adam West. Thank you so much for tuning in, Biff Dubai Adam West. I don't care where Marley plays. The kid is undroppable, mate.
He's unbelievable.
These super chats tonight, man. Everyone is spot on. Love it.
Right, okay. He didn't quite get the 100% accuracy tonight, but he wouldn't have been far off. The boy Louis Miley he just oozes calm and confidence when you need it under pressure. There's a couple of times in that second half where he's swarmed by 2 or 3 players, and he just with his body movement just jinks past them with ease. And it's just like, how is this lad 19 years old? How is Louis Miley 19 years old and playing like that? Honestly, the rise of this kid this season, not from 2 years ago, this season just alone has been unbelievable. The lad is.
And Pete, he's doing this from right back. And then obviously subs are made at half time, and then he slots in at centre mid, equally comfortable.
But and that's the beauty of it, because he's
then centre back.
He's at right back or centre back, but the way he progresses the board, he actually doesn't spend a lot of time in those positions. So you don't see him in his natural right back position. He's up there with Jacob Murphy or Harvey Barnes in the right wing position, and he's pushing their wingers back. He's pushing them back and making them defend. So he doesn't have to do too much defending because he's pushing them back and making it. But even when they break, his recovery runs are absolutely superb. He gets back in, he uses his stride. Some of his defensive tackles in the second half, in really tight moments in that far corner near the Gallagher.
Brilliant.
So it's not what a 19-year-old you'd expect him to be doing. He's playing above his age right now in terms of the level that he's producing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on, boys.
Sorry. Big shout out to Dan Man. Thank you very much as well. Another loaded ultra.
Thanks, Dan Man.
Good man.
Welcome to the party and becoming a loaded ultra. Right, 60 minutes. Shard does really, really well to keep out Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He gets in a kind of last-ditch tackle there. 61 minutes. Gordon nearly gets it on the end of a Barnes cross. Really good defender from Leeds. 2 minutes later, Hall in pretty much the same position, similar to Gordon, on again another Barnes cross. Again, good defending by Leeds. 64 minutes, scramble, ping pong in the box, hits the post. The keeper makes a save. I don't know how it didn't go in. I think I don't know what happened in the end. It just pinball. Right. Newcastle knocking on the door. Time to bust it down. 66 minutes. Leeds then hit the crossbar. Pope is in no man's land. I think I didn't get to reply to you lads in the chat because my pin was on fire here writing down all this was happening. But yeah, I think you were shouting for what was Popey at there.
Oh, but you know what? Generally, he commanded his box okay tonight. He was all right. But in that moment, you're like, Pope, what are you doing here? It like literally, if you're going to come that far, you've got to take the man and your defender out to win that ball. You've got to go and actually win that ball. And I'll be honest with you, lads, I was just expecting Justin to just kind of loop that into an empty net, and I was just relieved to see it bounce off the bar and then just be cleared out because. Yes, that was potentially a clanger waiting to happen, but thankfully, it didn't happen, and that was probably the only thing that Pope did wrong tonight. It could have been a bad one. Luckily, it wasn't for him, but it was the only thing that could have gone wrong for Nick Pope because I thought, other than that, I thought he was good.
Just as a flash there. Remember our game, the West Ham game. It was Barnes who did the business that day as well. Was that 4-3 in the end?
Yeah.
I'm as you said there, I'm jealous of the people that were there for that now tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll want to watch everything back related to it. Okay, let's go. 69 minutes. Shard down then with the bad knock. He has to come off on a stretcher. We've already said that he's has to be taken to hospital. It looks like it's an ankle problem. Then Jacob Murphy, who was getting ready to come on, is sat down. 74 minutes. It's then the subs come. Jacob Ramsey, it is that comes on for the injured Char. Wiesa is on for Nick Valdemada. Miley now moves to centre back. And he's doing well in the opening exchanges in his new role as centre back. But 4 minutes later, not Miley's fault, but Aaronson scores again. I don't know who's at fault there. There's a bad misplaced pass between Wiesa and kind of that didn't get Jacob Ramsey. But anyway, lead score and then make it 2-3. Anthony, you want to say about that goal on the 78th minute, boys?
Go on, Chris. I've still got nightmares about this goal, man.
Mate, it's just sloppy, isn't it? It's just sloppy. I think the ball gets. I think you're right, Daz. I think the ball gets played into Johan Wiesa, and he just tries to do like a flick onto somebody, and ends up, leaving the ball. The ball moves far enough away so that Johan Wiesa can't get control of it, and it doesn't go to anybody. So then Leeds just pick it up, and then at that point, because of where it's happened, it's 40-50 yards from goal, and there's just a big opening. And unfortunately, at that point, the game's end to end. did you see that weird graphic that Sky brought up? I've never seen it before. It was something like
the graphs.
Something to do with like trying to show it was end. I mean, I said to our Callum, I was like, why didn't he just say it's end to end? Because it is just end to end. And unfortunately,
that's someone's job.
Yeah, just like, just do this diagram. That'll really, display it well. But yeah, it was just really frustrating because we were in the ascendancy and we had control. But at that moment, we lost control. And how often have we spoken about that this season, boys, where it's a sloppy pass, it's a missed time pass, it's whatever it may be. And as soon as it happened, you just knew we were in trouble because Leeds were coming forwards. You could see the defenders were all over the place. Johan Visser can't get back. And then, it's too easy for Leeds. But yeah, it's so frustrating. And I'll be honest, boys, if you'd have said to me at that point, what's going to happen now? There's no way I would have said we were going to win from that position because I thought best case scenario was a draw at that point. But it wouldn't have surprised me if we'd have gone on to just lose. But yeah, really, really, it was a real kick in the teeth that, or a kick in the ghoulies. Let's keep it polite. But yeah, it was gut wrenching because at that point, as I said at the start of the show, I'm looking at all the other scores in the Premier League and I'm like, this opportunity, this is the time you need to win your games. You need to win the games that at home to Leeds. You've got to win this game. And at that point, I'm thinking, oh my God, we've thrown it away again. I can't believe it. Cannot believe it. But Pete, what did you think of the goal?
Yeah, I was on my knees at that point, just like, oh my God, what have we done here? Because we were in the ascendancy, we were on the counter attack ourselves. Bruno Guimarães gives it to Johan Visser. But I have to say, lads, we went for a few minutes before that goal doing exactly what happened in the build-up to the goal. We were trying to progress the ball too quickly. We're trying to press and play one-touch football in really tight spaces and just giving the ball away unnecessarily. And that's exactly what happened in the build-up to the goal. Johan Visser, he plays the ball blind, thinking that Jacob Ramsey's there. We have a knack of just overrunning the ball, so we don't anticipate where the ball's going to run and where the ball's going to end. Like Jacob Ramsey runs too far ahead. Johan Visser plays the ball back to him. He then can't get back. He slips over, and then they're on the counter. What I will say is, I thought that Sven Botman just gave him too much of a line to the goal. He kind of backed off to our left, his right too much. I think he should have narrowed the gap slightly, and I think he probably would have had a better angle to block the ball. Ultimately, it does go for his legs, but I just thought, just in that moment, he was a little bit too far on his right-hand side to just open up the space. But again, it's a finish right in the corner off the post, and nothing that Nick Pope could do because it's the only place he had probably scored. And it was just gutting, lads. I'm going to be honest. Like when that ball goes in, just thinking we've worked so hard, we've pushed and we've probed and we've looked like a team that can win this game, and then we've just kind of gifted them what it looked like at that point, a winning goal. But what filled me with confidence is that straight after that, the commentator said, the lads, Newcastle, and I think Miley was on the board at the time, and he was like, Newcastle don't need to panic this. They need to take their time. They've got lots of time left in this game. And then I remembered that with Shaw going off and the time that it looked worse on the screen than it actually was. And we had a lot more time than we thought. And at that point, I did kind of settle a little bit because I thought we are pressing, we are probing, we are getting into the box. And we looked dangerous when they were in the box. They looked like they were struggling. And so that after all of that, I did kind of calm and thought, we just need to keep pressing and probing.
But that's all the bad news out of the way. Everything's good from here on in. Right, 80 minutes, Gordon off, Murphy on. 83 minutes off the line from a Botman header from a corner, and lucky for Botman there.
Can I just jump in really quickly because obviously you just mentioned about Gordon going off, and I just wanted to say obviously a couple of comments on here. From VIP actually, he's put Gordon is pure shit. He's put sell Gordon. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think Gordon had a bad game today.
No, I didn't.
I don't think he had a bad game. I don't think he should be targeted for anything really related, any negativity. Yes, he didn't score. Yes, he didn't kind of create an assist, but I thought he worked really hard. I thought he ran for the team. Some of his pressing across the line of the pitch was really, really good. Yes, he didn't have great moments to really kind of get a shot off on goal or create a moment, but he was taking his man down the left-hand side. He was trying to get balls into the box. He was trying to make things happen in the game. It just didn't open up for him. And sometimes that happens. But I don't particularly think he had a bad game. I don't think he was rubbish. I don't think his attitude was bad or anything like that. So I kind of disagree with you, VIP, on that one. I didn't think he had a bad game. And actually, he was about to come off before Shaw got injured. And I said to the lads in the Mags Down South chat, I was like, actually, we need to keep him on. Don't make the Murphy sub right now. I would have probably kept him on for the rest of the game, to be honest with you, because I thought I thought the team needed him. They needed his energy and his running at that point in the game. But I just wanted to kind of share that with Gordon because I know you talked about him coming off. So I just wanted to raise that.
I'm glad you said that, Pete, because I thought if anyone goes for Gordon tonight on our panel, I was going to defend him. So I don't have to, because I thought he did all right, and he was trying. He was running everything down as well, and he nearly got in. I'm going back a bit in the game, but he nearly got in on the speed of him to rob the defender of the ball at one stage as well. I think it was in the first half. Yeah, it was. Right, let's move on. Eddie Formats, Wisa puts a follow-up from a corner wide, 87 minutes. Newcastle Peno, handball from Aaronson, VAR check, says Peno stands. Bruno Guimarães steps up to take it, scores 3-3. Game back on again. So, yes. Anything you want to say about the Peno boys?
Go on, Chris, man. Go on.
Do you know what? Boys, it was funny, and I'm sure. Well, in fact, I know you boys were thinking the same because you put it in the chat. But it was funny because, well, the first thing to say is I cannot believe it took VAR that long to decide that. Well, firstly, it was a penalty, and secondly, that it was in the box because both were absolutely clear, and you could see from the players' reactions, you could see the way they were, the way they were calling for it, claiming for it. But like you boys, yeah, it was funny because I seen it in the chat afterwards. My first thought was, Gordon's not on the pitch. Voldemars is not on the pitch. I was like, who's going to take it? And then I couldn't. So I saw someone putting the ball down, but because they bent over, I couldn't see the number on the back of the shirt, and it was like one of those moments where it was just like, oh. And Bruno just stood up, and I was like, Bruno. It had to be Bruno. And then I then switched for a second because I was like, Bruno isn't great at striking the ball. I was like, oh my god. And then Lisa, my wife, was going, he looks nervous. I was like, he doesn't. He's fine.
Shut up, Lisa.
Fine. And then he does the stutter, and then he waits, and then you're like, just hit it. Oh, Bruno. But you know what? Again, it typifies what we were saying before. And people may say I'm over-exaggerating. People may say, that I'm going over the top. But this is why I genuinely believe Bruno Guimarães is one of the informed, if not the informed central midfielder in the Premier League at the moment. The way he stands up, he encapsulates everything about a captain. When he first got given that captaincy, I remember thinking, oh, is he a captain? Is he a captain? Great player. We love him. Is he a captain? He is everything to us as a captain. He's absolutely everything. And that tonight just proved it. The passion, the commitment, standing up for the team, shouting, screaming at everyone, getting the crowds up, and then he goes and slots arguably one of the most, important goals for us this season. We'll look back, boys, on this game at the end of the season potentially and go, fucking hell, that's when the tide turns. And who stood up to be the man to be counted? Our captain, Bruno Guimarães. It was just everything. It was everything. Buzzing.
I don't know. Did I go to you first, Chris, or did I go to Pete? I can't remember.
I'm running out of superlatives for Bruno Guimarães. I keep referring to him as Captain Clutch because he has been Captain Clutch for us all season. The boy does not know when to quit when we need something in a game. The lad is just unbelievable. And it was interesting because the 5 or 10 minutes in the build up to that goal, everything ran through him. literally every time a player got the ball in an attacking phase, it's where's Bruno? And Bruno's there waiting, going, give me the ball. The amount of times I've seen his arms out like that, say, give me the ball. He wants it because he knows he has the ability to make the difference in the team. He knows he is that good. And yes, I'll be honest with you, I had visions of, I mean, look, first and foremost, it was a blatant penalty. And you're right, Chris, that it was ridiculous how long they took. It was blatant that it was handball. It was blatant that it was in the area. I don't know what they were looking for. It was just ridiculous. Probably trying to find a reason not to give a penalty. Just VAR, classic VAR. Then they probably remembered that they messed up against Chelsea and thought, oh, we better give them this one. So then they gave them the penalty. Anyway, Bruno Guimarães had visions of Crystal Palace when he took the penalty in the Carabao Cup, and he kind of did that stutter and then blazed it over the bar. And I was like, please, Bruno, don't do this right now. But true to form this season, Bruno keeps his cool, low and hard, slots it down the right-hand side, and yes, unbelievable. Great stuff. And at that point, boys, I thought, there's going to be one more chance. There's going to be one more chance, because we knew for all their time wasting and all the rest of it that there was going to be time added on into added time. So we thought, can we just conjure up one more chance? That was just what we hoped and prayed for.
And there might have been two, because on 94th minute, Wiesa was nearly in. And then kind of the follow-up was Barnes, was kind of just ahead of the ball. But Leeds, as you said, Pete, Leeds continued to try and run down the clock, trying all the tricks and all the shithousery that was possible. But on the 101st minute, Bruno onto Botman, onto Barnes, who's as you said, Chris, he spins and swivels on it and has a shot and puts it in the back of the net. Cue absolute mayhem from the bench, from Barnes. I don't know about this knee slide. Is that allowed? Frank Chippa, sort that out. I'm not sure if that knee slide is legal. I don't know what Wiesa's at here. He's wrecking the gaff. It goes absolutely off. 4-3 in honor of Kevin Keegan. What a night. That brought it to a conclusion, boys. That brought us to 4-3. But, boys, what a winner.
You know what? I don't know what Weiss is doing there. I think he's playing the guitar, isn't he? He must be playing some sort of tune on that one. But, lads, that moment was just like what we experienced at West Ham together in that and is what... that 52,000+ experience tonight in that ground when that ball hit the back of the net. I have to say, the chest down from Botman is going to be underrated. That is an elite level knockdown from Harvey Barnes in there. He's literally being dragged to the ground and probably could be given as a penalty, like in its own right. But he gets dragged down, and as he's being dragged down, he manages to turn his body and just chest it into the path of Harvey Barnes. And Harvey Barnes has got 3 men round him with his back to goal. I don't know how he manages to swivel on the ball with his standing foot still in place and get contact with the ball so close to him. He manages to swivel and hit it in one swoop, and it just. I saw it go towards goal, and I thought, is the keeper going to save it? And as soon as it goes under his hand, I thought, is it going wide? And as soon as it goes into the back of the net, mate. I probably woke my boy up, and I apologise to the little man tomorrow. I'll get him some sweets and stuff, give him a treat to make up for it. But I literally screamed the house down, and my wife had just gone to bed, and she was like, what is going on? What a moment that is. And I said earlier on in the show, if there was ever going to be a classic moment to send well wishes to Kevin Keegan, that was it. 4-3 in our favour, right? Winning a match in that moment, playing, attacking, free-flowing football the way Kevin Keegan allowed us to play. Because that's what it was today. Particularly that second half, it was free-flowing, attacking football. We got the ball out wide, down the wings, Murphy in, Barnes in. That is what Kevin Keegan played in the 90s, and that's what Eddie Howe brought to us in that second half. And it was just a little hat tip to Kevin Keegan there. unbelievable finish from Harvey Barnes. But that's what Harvey Barnes does. That is why we paid the 38 million for Harvey Barnes. I keep telling you, and I'll tell you again. That is why we paid the big money for Harvey Barnes, because he brings big moments like that. He scores big goals in big moments. Harvey Barnes is that guy. He's a sharpshooter. He knows where the net is. And when you're trying to chase a team down, when you're trying to win a game, you want Harvey Barnes on your team. You want him on the pitch, and you want him in goal-scoring opportunities. And that's what we got tonight. Harvey Barnes, what a guy. What a guy.
What a guy. And obviously man of the match as well. Even before that point, he was man of the match. But Chris, I want your thoughts on the winner as well.
Oh, mate. Do you know what? I'm struggling to actually remember it. All I remember, like Pete says, is like Harvey Barnes has literally got his back to goal, and then he just swivels and he hits it, and you're thinking, is it going in? Is the keeper going to save it? Because it's not the cleanest of strikes, you know what I mean? But I think the keeper's just absolutely gobsmacked, because when he turns, you just assume that as he turns, to face the goal, he's going to hit, because he's hit it with his right, he's going to put it in the opposite corner that he does. And I think the keeper's like, whoa, goes down, and he just doesn't get. Oh God, I think that's what's done the frozen. I think it was that moment, because I think when it went 3-3 with Bruno, I was banging on the cabinet, and then the door just got levered. I just ran over to. I don't know why I do it. I just ran over to the living room door, and I was banging on it, and then our baby comes down. Because I think she thought like we were getting broken into or something. It was just unbelievable. And you're right, Pete. It took me back to our time when we were in St. James's for that 4-3 with West Ham. It was exactly the same feeling. I mean, there was no doors first, which was a shame, because I've been banging the doors at St. James's. But yeah, it was just. Honestly, and I know people say this, if you could bottle that feeling and sell it, it would just be unbelievable. And all this emotions rushing through my body, I'm shaking, and I'm just like, tonight was just so pivotal, because we knew that we needed to beat Leeds at home. You've got to be getting your 3 points at home to Leeds. But I'm thinking of all the other results, boys, and I would keep going back to it. I'm thinking Burnley, Man United 2-2, Chelsea losing to Fulham. I'm thinking Sunderland have just been battered by Brentford. I'm thinking, help me out. What were the other? Tottenham lost, Villa drew, and I'm just like, all the teams that are like in and around it, they've all dropped points, and I'm just like, it's just perfect. It's perfect. And it was, well, we're going to go to the table at the end, I'm sure.
We will get there.
It was
just to add on to what you're saying there, Chris, it's like you're right. You're kind of looking it around and you're thinking, oh, please, we just need to win. And we've done it, but we've got to give props to Leeds. They were unbeaten at 7 going into that game. You can see why. You can see why. People will look at, it's Leeds there, where they are in the table. We should win easily. They're picking up points. They're being very, very difficult to beat right now. They're unbeaten in 7. We went, and it took us to go the whole distance, and it took us to give every ounce of effort, belief, integrity, everything, right, to be able to get that win. And we got it. And it just shows that we are capable of producing big moments, capable of producing big wins and getting big results. And people might look at it and go, Leeds are only down. And no, that's a big result tonight, lads. That is a big, big result tonight. Not just in the context of the table, in the context of Newcastle United, in the context of the players' mentalities, and in the context of Eddie Howe. Because he deserves a lot of credit for that win tonight. The changes he made, the subs he made, the positions that he switched around in game. He deserves credit tonight, because he made those decisions, he made those changes, and those changes worked, because we ended up playing some of the best football I've seen us play this season, in attacking style football, and we got the win, lads. And that could be, and I hope it is, the big moment that really turns our season and allows us to go, you know what? We deserve to be fucking here. We're now back in the mix. We're now back in the mix to where we want to be. We deserve to be here. Let's go and grab it by the scruff of its neck and let's make it happen. Hopefully that's the moment. Let's wait and see.
I keep looking at this table and smiling, boys, because I see we're ahead of Man United as well. But I want to go to the team photo first, boys, because I'm going to look at this for the first time with you guys. Let's have a look.
I haven't seen
Lean in, everybody. This is where we lean in.
Outstanding. Who's it?
Where's Harvey Barnes?
Barnes is there, just above Bruno, next to Miley. Bruno. Quite fitting. Bruno, Barnes, and Miley all together. Where's Joelinton? Joelinton should be in and around them.
Yeah, he's sitting right behind Miley.
Yeah, Miley.
All the boys together. Love it.
Brilliant. Look at Sven leaning in there. Love that.
You know what? Someone put in the chat, lads. Someone put in the chat about Sven Botman, not being back to his best levels and blah blah blah, not going to be the same again. Other than the bit I mentioned about the goal, I actually thought he was good. I thought he was really good when he came on. For the fact that he hadn't played for 3 weeks, he came back in. Yeah. I thought he really handled Dominic Calvert-Lewin well to the point where they subbed him off. I thought he defended really well. I thought he was good on the ball. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked good. Props to him. He'll be buzzing to be back in the mix and playing. So yeah, great to have Sven back. Absolutely.
Right, boys, let's look at the table. Let's go to the table next. Here is the table.
Are we moving in again?
Well, you can lean back because you have to kind of look up now, Pete. Not down anymore. Look up. The only way is up. Because we are sitting in 6th spot on 32 points. And if I zoom out again, you will see we have 3 wins on the bounce. We talked about a run that Eddie can take us on a run. This is well and truly on that run now. Let's hope that continues. Look at where we're sitting. We're sitting ahead of Man United, ahead of Chelsea, who were well ahead of us there not so long ago. And look at Sunderland are in 10th. And I know it's all very tight and bunched, but nice to see that as well. Probably for one of the first times this season we're ahead of them, to tell you the truth. And Brentford just above us. Liverpool, who will have to play Arsenal tomorrow, just 2 points ahead of us. And then you've got the 3 that have formed a nice little gap between everyone else. But boys, we're in the mix, that's for sure. Thoughts?
Go on, Chris fella.
I mean, has the table ever looked as good this season? Has it really? I don't actually think it has. Boys, we are firmly in the mix. Firmly in the mix. Is it done? Is it dusted? Absolutely not. You can see if you go all the way down to 12th there with Everton, we're 3 points above Everton. So, we're not home and hosed. But importantly, like we've been talking about for the past few weeks, months, it's about getting up there and then basically doing a Villa, getting up there and creating a bit of a gap. But what's pleasing is we're now, I spoke about this, didn't I? Was it last week, the week before, saying that for me, I feel like top 3 is pretty much wrapped up. I'm aiming for 4th. I said 4th at the start of the season, and I look at 4th and I think, right, well, Liverpool are playing Arsenal tomorrow. We're currently 2 points behind Liverpool. If Arsenal go and beat Liverpool tomorrow, it's game on, boys. It's game on. But we've put ourselves in a fantastic position. And isn't it mad, boys? We said this, didn't we? We've been saying this for weeks, months on end, about the fact that if you can string a few results together in a row, you will find yourself climbing up that table. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. Get that win tonight was huge, particularly from the position that we were in. And how many times did Sky want to bring up, least points from losing positions? And then we go and do that. We go and do that and shove it down the throats. And this is why I feel like it's so, it could potentially be season defining, because not only have all our rivals lost, not only have we come from behind twice. Is it twice? We did come from behind twice, didn't we?
Twice,
came from behind twice to then go and win the game. But it's the manner and how we did it.
Was it
3 times? Yeah.
Oh, 3 times. Yeah, but it was 1-0, wasn't it? Yeah, 3 times. So we haven't come back from a losing position. We had no points from losing position, and we've come back 3 times in one game to win the match. If that doesn't define or show that this is where the season can turn around, I don't know what will. A performance like that can really be season defining, and I just hope it is, because boys, we've now put ourselves in that position, and the likes of Man United, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Sunderland, the likes of Liverpool will all be looking, going, see that result last night for Newcastle. All of a sudden, boys, we're right up there, and we're in the conversation, and that's where we want to be, and that's where we need to be. We've just got to make sure that we go on like a little run now and just take everything positive from that game and kick on and keep this winning mentality going.
Chris, we are still fighting for these Champions League positions, and to borrow a phrase from the big man, I would love it. I would love it.
Mate.
If we got it.
Absolutely.
Pete,
Absolutely.
Thoughts on the table?
This is the best position we've been in all season. So it's delightful to be looking at that in a positive light. I'll be honest, in previous reaction shows, I haven't really wanted to look at the table. I haven't liked it. I haven't liked what I've seen when I've looked at the table, but I like what I see tonight. These are the positions we want to be fighting in. Big props to Brentford, by the way. Keith Andrews was odds on to be sacked first.
Yeah.
And he's now sitting in 5th spot with 33 points, 10 wins in the bank. He has done an unbelievable job. Thiago has been unbelievable. Thiago has been unbelievable this season, and a player that I wasn't overly sold on. But I have to say, the more I've watched him this season, the more I've been impressed with him, and scored again tonight. So fair play to Brentford just in general. They've signed well, they've lost key players, but they've hit back, and they're in a great spot. But we want to be in that spot. We want to be in that spot, and the way we need to continue to push for that spot is to continue to win matches. Now, I'm looking around, lads, and I'm looking at our next couple of games. We've got Wolves and we've got Villa, and then we're away to Liverpool. They're our next 3 Premier League games. Obviously, we've got a number of games in between that. FA Cup, Carabao, Champions League. But I'm just focused purely on the Premier League right now. The next game, Wolves away. Wolves, yes, they got a point at Everton tonight. I think we can go there and win. They're not great at the Molineux. I believe our tails should be up going into this next game against Wolves. But look around, lads. You got Brentford. Their next game's against Chelsea. 2 teams around us. Man United. Their next game's against Man City. Come on, Man City. You got Fulham that are playing a good Leeds side who we only beat in the last minute. Sunderland against Palace. Brighton against Brentford. You've got all those teams going down to 11th. I could go to 12th and go Everton have got Villa. All of those teams around us in their next Premier League fixtures have got teams around each other, or have got a really tough game against a team near the top of the table. And we've got Wolves. We could actually stretch the gap if we win the next game. And I'm going to take it a game at a time. The next Premier League game, Wolves away. If we can go and win away against the team that are currently bottom of the league and who aren't in the greatest of form, and actually a team that we really, on paper, are a lot stronger than, we can put ourselves in a real great position. Now, even better than that, you're looking at if Arsenal go and beat Liverpool tomorrow, they stay on 34 points. And then I don't know who Liverpool have got in their next game, but there's a chance that, we could be pushing Liverpool and asking them a question.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
And so it's wide. And the reason why I'm saying this and the reason why I'm looking up is because we've put 3 wins on the bounce, lads. You look at all of the teams around us, they haven't put 3 wins on the bounce. Only Brentford have done it above us. We're the ones that are in form right now in comparison. So let's keep it going. Let's get the next win. Wolves away. Premier League. Forget the noise of the other games right now. Wolves away. Let's go win again, and let's go ask the question of every other team around us. who have then got to go and beat each other to be able to salvage some points. And I guarantee there'll be lots of teams in there that won't beat each other, probably some draws in there, dropping more points. We can get 3 more points. That's where the gap starts to rise. And then we can then ask some questions of Aston Villa at St. James's Park. So lots to be positive about, lads, after this. For all the negativity that we've suffered for the last God knows how many weeks, since November through to Christmas, all the negativity we've suffered, all the social media noise that's been out there, 3 wins on the bounce, lads. Right? We're in the position we want to be. Let's back the manager. Let's back the lads. Let's get behind him like we did tonight. The atmosphere was outstanding at St. James's Park. I just watched that Harvey Barnes goal back. The limbs in and behind the Leeds end was unbelievable. Just reminding me of that West Ham game all over again. Let's go get the next game against Wolves and let's keep rising up that table. That's what I say.
Can I just add, by the way, you touched then, Pete, on Wolves being the next game. Due to the kickoff times tonight, as soon as our game finished, I turned on the last part. Well, for the start, I watched the majority of the first half where Everton played Wolves because my middle lad, he's a blue, he's an Everton fan, and I also watched, I think it was the last 15 minutes of the Everton Wolves game. I tell you what, we got linked today. Anybody who hasn't seen it, we've been linked with a player called Mane from Wolves. I think he's 18 years old, playing in the centre of midfield. He played tonight, and I tell you what, he looks a player. He looks a real player. He actually scored the equaliser for Wolves this evening. He looks a real prospect. So want to keep an eye on that. I think he's only 18 years old. I think Wolves signed him from Rotherham, I believe. So yeah, player been linked, but yeah, just a little caveat there because I watched a little bit of him tonight because I'd seen that we were linked with him. Very tidy on the ball, nice crisp passing. Clearly got a lot of ability. So it could be one to keep an eye on, boys.
I'm sure he'll come up in our next fully loaded transfer show. That's for sure, Chris. Let's get some comments or questions from the chat, boys.
Wow, where do we start? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll start with this one because I think we've already answered this one. Afaramas asked earlier on, will Semenyo be cup tied? He will be cup tied because somebody put it in the chat that Semenyo was already played in the cup. Bournemouth.
He came off the bench for Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup. I was having a chat with my mate Emeka yesterday because he thought that he wasn't cup tied and that he'd be available. And I said he actually came off the bench. I think it was a half time in one of the Carabao Cup games, so he is actually cup tied. Yeah. So no fear there. So we will not be facing Antoine Semenyo, even if he joins Manchester City. We will not be facing him in the Carabao Cup. Right, I love this from Claire. I love how it's 11 o'clock and the sunglasses are on. Of course they are, Claire. Of course they are. It's been a long wait, and we have had a couple of wins, but we didn't go too overboard. But tonight was the night. Tonight was the night.
Felt right.
So, yeah, it did. The sunglasses are back on, and let's hope they stay on. Adam McCarthy agrees with you, Pete. Here, Pete. That was a KK game down to a T. The fact it finished 4-3, it was just fitting, wasn't it? Just fitting. So yeah, much love to Kevin Keegan. Oh God, where do I start here, boys? Right, tell you what, I can see we've got a couple of super chats here, so let's go straight to those. WAG CWB0. Thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. We have to come to terms that Botman will never be that player that we thought he would. Miley will be better player than Tonali due to mentality. Boys, Daz, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that one from WAG CWB0?
I don't know how you can say that, really. I know maybe you have concerns about the injuries, and we have to see how it does play out for him. Can Botman stay injury free for the rest of the season? I'd say, but no, I still think he's can be vital for us. So I don't know the first line. Then the second line, Miley will be a better player than Tonali due to mentality. Well, he could well be, because the way he's going about it. But that is some player. Like Miley is only 19. Tonali is a seasoned professional playing in the European Championships and World Cups for Italy. He's been around the block a bit. And we will get the best of Tonali back again. I'm sure we will. But it's all about learning from Miley as well, and he has really stepped up his game since the start of the season. And what we were saying at the very start of the season. So that's isn't it great that we have both, or all three?
Yeah, Pete, what are your thoughts on that one, mate?
I think there was a guy in the super chat. We haven't skipped your super chat. We'll come to it. So don't worry about that.
I'm amazing.
In there. We'll get to that. So do not worry. I'm on the pitch, ability wise. I'm not worried about Sven Botman at all. Sven Botman is a top quality centre back. One that a lot of top European teams would want to take. I'm worried that we haven't yet signed him up to a new contract. That's my big worry right now. He's not worried about his ability. I would be concerned if he picks up other niggles between now and the end of the season. If he keeps picking up these regular niggles, and he hasn't. And I keep reminding people that I speak to about Sven Botman. In December, when he picked up this back injury, that was the first injury he's had all season. So it's not like he's regularly injured. Or he has been. He's been regularly available up until his back injury. He's now back fit. Let's see if we can get a prolonged period with him in the team like we had at the start of the season up to December. If he starts breaking down again after 2 or 3 games and then is out a week here and a week there and he keeps doing that for the rest of the season, then I will be a little bit concerned about it. And maybe that's what Newcastle United are waiting on before they kind of rubber stamp maybe a new deal. That's what I'm hoping. But he needs to be fit now and playing regular games, because it looks like even though it's an ankle injury, it could be potentially a long-term one, at least a month or 2 for Fabian Schär. So we're going to need the rest of our centre-backs to be fit and available. We've got Dan Burn that will be back shortly. Sven Botman will now come in alongside Malick Thiaw and play in that centre-back role, probably on Saturday against Bournemouth. That'll be centre-back pairing. So this is his opportunity to prove his fitness and to prove that he can be robust and he can deal with the rigours of playing regular Premier League, Carabao Cup, Champions League football, etc., etc. We need to give him the opportunity to prove that. That's the key. The second part is I actually agree with what Wag's saying with regards to Miley. Miley will be a better player than Tonali, in my opinion, at Newcastle United. And the reason being is because Louis Miley won't leave Newcastle United. He'll be at Newcastle United for the long term. So we'll see Louis Miley's rise and progression at Newcastle United. Whereas, being honest and open, I don't believe Sandro Tonali will be here for that long. And that's why I think we will look at Louis Miley whenever he finishes his career as a better player than Sandro Tonali overall. That's just my own opinion on it. In terms of ability, Sandro Tonali's already proven that he's an elite player. He's not doing it right now. He's a little bit out of form, but he's already proven he's an elite player. We need Miley to go and prove that himself, and we want him to prove that at Newcastle United. So long-term at Newcastle United, I think Miley can be that guy because of the longevity and him doing it year in, year out for us, wearing black and white. But obviously at the moment, Sandro Tonali is that just level higher.
No, I can't disagree with anything you boys have said there. I think that sums it up nicely. But thank you again for the super chat, Wag CWB0. Right, let's move on to the next super chat. Guibazera, thank you so much again to you for your super chat. Guibazera says next match Miley will be in there for Pope. I mean, he can play right back, he can play centre mid, he can play centre back. Why not try him in goal, boys? I don't know. Is there anything this kid cannot do? So no, I like that, Guibazera. Very, very, very good comment there, mate. Big shout out to Voske. Thank you, Ross, also for becoming a Loads of All share. Much appreciated, mate. Thank you so much. Right, let me see. Okay, so we have Alex Romero. Alex Romero, Bruno is our best number 6, number 8, and number 10. We need a tricky winger. Pete, what are your thoughts on that from Alex Romero B?
Well, yeah, we do need a right winger. That is absolutely key for us. But if we can find a way of unlocking Barnes in this free role on the right hand side to do what he did tonight, to have that free role to roam into infield across the front line and just be an absolute menace and pick up opportunities into the box, we may have stumbled across something that could actually work really, really well for Newcastle United. It's a different way of playing. Again, it's a completely different setup. So when people say, oh, it's 4-3-3, it's the same over and over again. No, it's not. It does look like a 4-3-3 on paper, but tactically, it's very different. Like tactically tonight was very different to previous games because Barnes on the right, it doesn't do the same as what Murphy does. He plays in a completely different way. You don't see Murphy making inward runs, linking up with Voltemada in the middle of the park. He stays on the touchline, out wide. He whips balls in. That's his job. Harvey Barnes is a different type of player. And if we can unlock him on that right-hand side and allow him, because let's be honest, lads, as much as we'd want Harvey Barnes playing on the left, he's not going to. Gordon's going to play on the left. And we need to find a way of Barnes playing in this team because the lad should not be sitting on the bench. That is for sure. He should be playing and starting in this Newcastle United team. So can we find a way of playing? Maybe this is what Eddie Howe's been working with him on, this way of playing and having the free role and being able to roam and find sort of almost like forward-like positions in the box where he can finish, because that's what you want, lads. You want Harvey Barnes in goal-scoring positions because when he is, look what he produces. 2 goals tonight. Or you could argue man of the match performance. Like, this is what Harvey Barnes can do. So can we unlock Harvey Barnes? Can we unlock a position that allows him to play week in, week out? And yeah, Murphy on the bench, Elanga on the bench, they've got to step up. They've got to play well. They've got to score goals. They've got to get assists. They've got to do what they need to do to get on the pitch, because there's no doubt for me in my mind, right, that Gordon and Barnes are the best 2 wingers that we have at this club. And you can argue Gordon's form's been iffy, but when Gordon's on it and when he's on it, and he didn't play bad tonight, when he's on it, you want him in your team. You want him starting on that left-hand side. That's for sure. So can we find a way, if Eddie Howe's going to always play Gordon regardless, can we find a way of Gordon and Barnes playing in the same team? And I think Eddie Howe might have unlocked something tonight. Hopefully he has. Let's wait and see.
It's a really interesting point you make, Pete, because, and I think the Joelinton goal epitomizes it in many ways, because tonight we saw, didn't we, an absolutely outstanding performance from Louis Miley. And obviously, Tino Livramento came on for Sandro Tonali. Tino Livramento slotted in at right back. Louis Miley then slotted into the midfield. But what was interesting was, do you look at that Joelinton goal? Louis Miley's on the right wing corner flag. Now, do you remember many years back when Eddie Howe first came in, and we were playing with our Dan Burn was left back, Kieran Trippier was right back, and Kieran Trippier was drifting forwards, and Dan Burn would slot in to make a back 3. Is this now a rehash of that? Is this a sense, because we know how comfortable Lewis Hall is on the ball, we know that, and it because we've got such energetic fullbacks in Lewis Hall on the left, but then we've also got Louis Miley, who's come to prominence at right back. We've got Tino Livramento, who's playing at right back. If you're getting them up there, when Tino Livramento or Louis Miley are getting up into that right wing, they're going to Harvey Barnes. Yeah, tuck in, get in behind, get in and around Nick Voltemada, because I'm up here. I'm in this right wing position, and then all of a sudden the left back's going, hang on, am I going with Harvey Barnes? Am I going with Louis Miley? What am I doing here? And it causes a little bit of chaos. And it did feel tonight like there was a little bit of chaos down Leeds' left-hand side, our right-hand side. It felt different tonight. Do you agree with that, Daz?
Well, I think what you're saying here, Chris, is that there's evolution of Plan A. Now, some people would not have you believe that was possible, but maybe it is.
Maybe it's a little bit of unpredictability. Maybe, and people have questioned Eddie Howe and his unpredictability. Oh, he's predictable. He does all the things that everyone expects him to do. Well, we saw a little bit something different from him tonight. And to be fair, the last few games he has done things a little bit differently, a little bit outside of what we expect him to do. Just saying.
Maybe people need to respect the name. Respect Eddie Howe. As he said on Top Table Talk, Eddie Howe is our manager. We all had a wobble, but let's see. It was a long way to go. Look, it's a long way to go. Yeah, we're only 21 games in.
Do you know what it does? We did have a wobble, but I have to say it was more of a tremor, I would call it, because everyone who watches Loads regularly will know that we all said nothing happens to Eddie Howe until the end of the season. Nothing gets decided. And boys, we heard, the other night on Top Table Talk, you've seen what's happened with Maresca, you've seen what's happened with Amarim. Look who they're bringing in. And this is the point that we were making. So, everyone at home, who's coming in? Who was coming in to replace Eddie Howe? It's not like there's a plethora of managers out there who are all waiting to come and take, such a great job in Newcastle United in the Premier League. There's not a vast queue of managers out there. There's really not. And, you only have to look at, some of the other clubs. Look at West Ham getting Nuno. Look at Tottenham getting Frank, who most Tottenham fans want out. Look at Forest getting Sean Dyche. Sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for. You really, really have.
Lads, there's no issue with sort of questioning what's going on. We all do it, and we all have a right to do it. If we see something that we don't like, that's fine. But when it seems like it's a bit of a narrative that you want to create,
a vendetta.
Yeah, when it's like when you can't praise the team for winning because you want to point out the negatives about the team, that's when it goes too far. For me, like we'll sit on here and we'll have a chat with all the chatters that are in there, and they put some great comments in and great talking points, and we'll discuss it as a group, right? And it's all right to do that. But at the same time, regardless of all of that, when those boys step on the pitch, we back them 100%. Whether we think they've had a good game or not, whether we think they should be starting or not, whether we think it's the right tactics or the right setup, regardless of that, you get behind the boys and you support the lads and you celebrate when you win. And that's the big thing in the last 3 games that has kind of blown my mind, is that we've won matches. We've got 3 points on the board. And I'm seeing on social media, I have to be honest, I've just turned it off because I'm looking on social media and I'm going, okay, well, where's the positivity here? Because they're going, yeah, but we won, but yeah, but this, yeah, but that. No buts. We got the 3 points. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how we get them. We want the points on the board. We want to win the game. We want to win the matches to get to the position that we're at, right? The wins will create performances. Performances will come with confidence. When you're winning, you gain confidence. When you gain confidence, it generates performances. It's all linked. Just get behind the boys, like the 52,000+ did tonight. I say last night. It was last night because we're gone past the midnight schedule. But last night when we played Leeds, and that 52,000 were backing the boys 110%, 120%. That's what we need when those boys step onto the pitch. None of that nonsense and negativity. Right, let's just back the boys and get behind them. We can assess Eddie Howe, the players, the performances, and we can be as critical as we want at the end of May when the season's done and dusted, and we'll give it a review at that point.
Just one last thing on that one. Are you not entertained? Because that's what it's all about. That's why we follow Newcastle, I suppose, because we were entertained in our early days on with Newcastle. And look at right. Let's move on. Let's go on to the next one.
Let's go. Right. Where do we go next? Okay, Lee Robinson. Lee Robinson, you've come up with a belter tonight, mate. I've got to say, and I can see we've already responded. Semenyo isn't cup tied. You can now feature for 2 teams. Rules got changed this season. Well, that's news to me. I didn't know that. So thank you so much for your super chat, Lee Robinson.
Yeah, I looked that up while we were chatting there, and it's likely that he will be able to play. There's the change the rules slightly, as Lee has pointed out. So that would mean if they sign Gahey, that he would be allowed to play as well.
Yeah, whether that be done, maybe. Might be done before. When is it? Tuesday, Wednesday we're playing them? Don't know.
Next week.
Yeah, it's next week. I'm thinking
they had to play the young lad tonight, didn't they?
Yeah,
that's the young lad. Gabardio's out probably for the rest of the season. You've got Diaz that's out for at least 6 weeks, so he's probably going to miss both legs. So that's to bring the young lad that just got recalled from Watford on loan, put straight to the starting lineup tonight, and they ended up drawing with Brighton. So, hey, there's a chance we can go. There's a chance at St James's Park we can put them to the sword, and put them to the sword is what we must do if we're going to give ourselves a chance in the second leg. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Gibbazera. Who gave us the super chat earlier. Gibbazera has now become a loaded ultra. Thank you so much, mate. Love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much. Right, let's see. And do you know what, boys? The chat has been going mental about this. I've got to be honest, I haven't seen any of it because I wasn't tuning in. But Brett Critch and a few others have said, can we also have a round of applause for Lefay trying a Panenka at 1-0 down tonight? I haven't even seen it, but apparently it's dreadful. It's dreadful.
He's just catching practice. He literally just does it. Wow. He just dinks it down the middle, and the goalkeeper's just like, he's just there and he's like, thanks. And he just catches it and then just carries on playing. It's absolutely dreadful. And that was it. I think that was at 1-0.
It was 1-0. It was a 1-0.
1-0. So if I would be fully expecting to get a fine if that was me in that position, which it wouldn't be. I'd just be Alan Shearer, like, just smash it.
Putting your laces through it. Yeah.
Top left, laces.
Yeah.
Shearer arm. Happy days.
Exactly. And Geordie Toon for Life asks, can anyone see Sunderland's in the table?
Well done.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less. Honestly, I was asked on 12th Man on Monday, and
I've seen that. I've seen that.
We finished Sunderland, and I'm just like, yeah. I don't know what all the fuss is about. Yes, they're having a good season. They're going to stay in the Premier League. That was their target met. Great. We'll finish above them.
Interestingly, Mark Howe asks a very good question. Mark Howe says, where's Dan United and Charlie?
Yes.
Where are the boys?
They're sitting in 7th and 8th, respectively.
And they're not in the chat. They're not in the chat this evening. Not in the chat this evening.
Same guys who were telling us to get rid of Eddie Howe, aren't they? The Eddie Howe.
Don't worry. Tuesday, be there, people. Be there on Tuesday. 6:30, be there. The panel will be set. Those boys will be on, and we can ask them the question outright. We can ask them.
I'm muting them. I'm muting them if I have to on Tuesday, just to get a word in. Yeah. Right, move on.
That's all right. We can put the glasses on, and they'll be so annoyed.
They'll be so fuming. They'll be fuming when we join. But we'll have to make sure that when we're like pre-show, we don't put the glasses on, and then just when the show starts, just have them on. Just
code word.
I'm looking forward to that already.
One lad's put on twice, I think, during the show. I think it was Conrad. He's put on twice. He's put it again that he put Pete that was never a Leeds penno. I thought it was a penno.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't. I just thought I want to see what happened beforehand that made Malick Thiaw fall over or start to fall, because I haven't seen that bit.
Maybe I need to watch it. Maybe I need to watch it again. But from what I was watching whilst we were watching it live, it looked like a penalty to me. It looked like his arm was in an unnatural position. I looked at it and thought, if that was his on the other side, I would have been calling for a penalty. So I'd say well, I'd say like I wouldn't argue it. I didn't argue it when it was given. I didn't really argue it, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll rewatch it again.
Yeah. I'll be honest. From what I saw, it wasn't like if he'd have been pushed and he'd have fell and his arms are going to the floor and it would have hit the ball. Yeah. But to me, what I saw was he was going to the floor and then he moved his arm toward the ball. That's what I saw. I could be wrong. Anyone in the chat, tell us if that's not the case, but that's what I saw. So I'm kind of on the same lines as you, Pete. But we'll watch it back. I'm sure we're all going to watch that game back, and it'll be a pleasure to watch that game back. So looking forward to that already. Coronord, Harvey Barnes is an Avenger. I just like that. I just like that comment. I like that comment. I've got 2 belters at the end, by the way, boys. Two belter ones at the end. They're not questions; they're just comments, and I love them. So I'm going to save them for the end. Genius. I'm going to read through some comments here. Joelinton showed his best and worst sides today. Sloppy on the ball, but relentless presser. He was everywhere. And yeah, you know what, Genius? I think that's fair. You know, Joelinton. We're seeing the old Joelinton, and you're right, he was absolutely relentless today. I see. You know what? I was a bit frustrated actually because I wanted to. I did actually think about putting a bet on Joelinton to get a card, and then as soon as he did what he did, I was just like, "Oh God, yeah." And then the referee got his card out, and I was just like, "Geez, you can just see it, can't you?" With Joelinton, it's like he gets this red mist, and then he's kicking off, and you see Sandro going, "Get away! You've had your yellow card. Get away from the referee." I thought it was going to be.
Did you see him best mates? He was best mates with the ref then later on in the game, and there's another time when it was a dubious kind of foul on Joelinton, and he got the foul. Well, it was kind of funny. He kind of came full circle.
Yeah, I like what Senk said here. Senk Carell, he's brought us all back down to earth. Malick Thiaw is the best transfer of this season. One game he wasn't good enough today, but we will be okay with Botman. I like that, Senk. Very, very true. Right, yeah, Tapey. Yeah, I'll be honest, this did cross my mind. I don't know whether it did you boys. Pete, I'll come to you first. On Fabian Schär, worried he'll never play again. We know Fabian Schär's coming towards the end of his career. It was horrible seeing him at the deck, and he's calling over the bench, and you know it's a baddie. You know it's a baddie when that happens. How many times has Fabian Schär gone down with an injury, normally a head injury, and then you think he'd be fine, but you saw the distress in his face. What were your thoughts, Pete?
Yeah, I looked at it initially and thought it was an ankle, and then when you watch it again, the way his knees sort of twisted, you're thinking, flipping out, could that be an ACL? You've seen worse twists on a knee, and it's ended up being an ACL. So I did worry about that. But if they're saying it's an ankle, that's a positive thing, in one sense. But yeah, I mean, first of all, you know, you're looking at, is he going to be back this season? That's a big question mark right now. And I'll be honest with you, lads, if he's not back this season, we need to go into the transfer market and buy a centre-back or someone that can play dual role for the rest of the season, because he's already proven, even though he wasn't starting at the beginning of this season, he's already proven that he is absolutely been crucial for us when he's come in when there's been other injuries. So we're going to need to replace that absolutely, because Jamal Lascelles isn't that guy. He's not that guy. I don't, with all due respect to him, club captain, etc., I don't trust him to come in and do what Fabian Schär does. So pray that it's not serious. Pray that he's back at some point this season. Do I think he'll play again? Yes, I do.
This season, or do you mean?
I think he'll play again, of course. Because the question is, he's worried that he'll never play again.
Never play again. Yeah.
I think he'll absolutely play again, for sure. Because Fabian Schär's skill set isn't around pace or anything ability-wise like that. It's around positioning. It's around his ability on the ball, and I think he can still play at a top level regardless. I hope he spends the rest of his career at Newcastle United. I hope that I genuinely do. I hope he gets given a role within the squad if he wants it. If he wants to move on, fine. But I hope he gets given a role at the squad, etc., etc. I want him to be given that opportunity. I do hope we extend the contract if it is a season-ending injury, because obviously his contract's out at the end of the season. I hope we do extend it.
I think the club should.
So he does stay at the club, because I think his stint at the club has earned that. I think the right for him to do that, and I think he should be under the kind of our medical staff to ensure that he's back
100%.
fit and running, because when he's back and fit and running, he's a top player. But if he's going to be missing the rest of the season, we can't sit on our laurels. We have to go and sign and bring a player in. We absolutely have to.
Yeah. That moves me. Pete segued me, as he always does so nicely. Pete segued me nicely onto Tom Dixon's question, which I was coming to you with. Do you think we might have to go into the transfer window now with the Sch&auml injury? Now, what I wanted to add on to that, Daz, I read an article the other day, I forget where it was from, and it might have been from Luke Edwards, actually, and it was being suggested that Newcastle may dip into the market for the centre-back or the left-back if Jamal Lascelles leaves. Newcastle might dip into the central midfield market if someone like Joe Willock leaves, and Newcastle might dip into the striker market if someone like Will Asula leaves. But do you think now that this injury is going to force Newcastle's hand? Ross Wilson has already said, apparently last month, that Newcastle do have money available. Newcastle will, go in for the right player if the right player becomes available, if the deal works for Newcastle. Do you believe that this injury to Fabian Schär is going to force the hand of Eddie Howe and the recruitment team?
Potentially, we have to see the extent of the injury. Of course, the Toulouse left back that can play centre back, who we talked about on. Yes, he might be. He was kind of coming back from. He did an operation as well, but he'll be back before the end of the transfer window closes. But I don't know. We'd have to see what plans are. It's been fairly quiet though so far. In the transfer window, but it could all kick off now pretty soon.
Yeah. The one thing in Newcastle is that if they need to act, they'll act. And if they need to go and get a player, they'll go and get a player, and they act pretty quickly when they know that they need something. So the January windows doesn't last very long. So I do, you'll probably by the weekend, maybe Monday, they'll know the extent of Fabian Schär's injury, and so you'd expect to see movement on a player, because we've got a lot of games this month. We have got no time to mess around. We cannot wait until the end of the month to go, let's kind of potter around and then act at the end of the window if something arises. No, we need to be aggressive. Go and get a player. You see what Man City have done with Semenyo. We need a player, go get him. Linked with Gay, go get him. We need to be that aggressive if we need a player for the team, go get him. Dan Matherley doesn't seem like it's long term. Get him in, because I tell you what, his skill set is absolutely perfect for Newcastle United. It's perfect for an Eddie Howe team, and the fact that he can play centre back as well is absolutely a big tick there in this whole situation. So if we've got everyone fit and firing, he'll be a big asset. But I'm not against going out there and going and get a summer target. If you want to go out there and get a centre back that would have been our summer target and go and get him now, why not?
How about Scalvini?
Oh,
that's right.
If he's on the agenda, absolutely. Obviously, he's still he's getting back into form. But if he's on the agenda, of course, because he's on his day, he's an elite centre back. The only thing is obviously he can play both sides, but he's more of a left-sided. So you probably want someone that's a right-sided, that's an alternative to Schär. But I suppose that's a
Let's keep that for another show.
Yeah, and do you know what? I mean, I think this one's unlikely, but it's certainly worth asking a question. Where was it? Somebody wrote it, and I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting one," because it is all up in the air a little bit at the moment.
This one
unlikely.
Here. 20,
yeah. We need to go and sign Gay for 40 million. I think Schär could be out for the season. Hope I'm wrong. Daz, dead quick to you. Can Newcastle do that? I mean,
if we can
pretty in on him.
Get past City, probably Liverpool, could potentially Real Madrid or someone like that as well. Everyone's looking at him, so I don't think that's realistic. We'd love it, but not realistic.
Pete, yeah or no, Gay?
We've got no chance of getting Gay. No chance.
No.
And to be fair, Do Newcastle United really want to go back to the table with Palace after what happened over a year ago? Probably not.
No.
With Joe Willock, though, maybe we do. I can't see it.
No. I mean, Meffley sounds like a good option, doesn't he? It's, you know, to bring in somebody who can cover at left back and also play centre back. Like that's not bad going, is it? Because it kind of does two jobs for one, doesn't it? And on the subject of players who can play left centre back and left back, Derek Sharp asks, "Do we know when Dan Burns back?"
There was talk that he could be back for the Man City game. Now that's not been confirmed, and Eddie Howe hasn't mentioned anything on Dan Burns. It's just been very blunt and said he's out. So we don't really know. But yeah, there was talk that he could be back for that game. It would be early in terms of the actual like time frame, but that would be a welcome boost if we could get Dan Burn back for next week. But maybe for the Villa game, get Dan Burn back, fit and firing for that one.
Yeah. Just a reminder to everyone to smash that like button as well. I think we've got 147 likes or so. So make sure you do that. And if you're watching on X, just click in.
Let's get 200 likes before we wrap. Come on, people.
Yeah. Oh, also, I've got to give a shout out to everyone in the chat as well. I don't know whether you boys noticed on one of our recent shows. I'm trying to remember which one it was actually. I can't remember if it was Top Table Talk or a different one. Our hypes were going round the bend. Like I think we got like 13,000 hypes. It was absolutely fantastic. So thank you everybody for doing that. And everybody, after this show, the hype option will appear, right? So where the comments are after the show, if you swipe to your left, the hype option will appear. Now, when that option appears, if you could all kindly, we'd much appreciate it, if you could go in and just press that hype button for us. It doesn't cost anything, but it would be much appreciated if you all did it because it helps share the show far and wide. It would be much appreciated. Daz, have we got the hype button?
We have the hype button, not the correct hype button. Ready?
Hyper! Why would you not press the hype button?
Hype it up.
Hype it up. I like this one, boys, and this is a name that will remind you all of a previous fully loaded transfer show window. But it's a good shout from Bobby. Bobby says Zabarnyi on loan from PSG, really struggling and doesn't want to be at the same club as their Russian goalkeeper. I didn't know the intricacies around that. But Pete, Zabarnyi, would you bring him back to Premier League, particularly on loan?
Absolutely. They're the type of teams and the type of signings you need to be making. Players that are on the fringes of top clubs that need to play and want to play minutes, that are players that can come in and instantly improve you. Zabarnyi absolutely improves you in the team. The only question mark to that is that he's going to want to come on loan and play regular football. He's going to be wanting to come in and be the guy. And I think Botman and Byrne would have answers to that, and Malick Thiaw as well. Would have questions to answer on that one. But if you could get him, absolutely you would. I'll be honest with you, lads. I think the signing that we get, if we were going to lose Shaw for a long period of time, it'd probably be a younger centre back that would
develop.
Yeah, just a younger centre back that's got potential of being a top centre back that you can build and develop. This is why I was gutted that we didn't get Sch&auml last year. City have snapped him up, and his stats already this season are so good, so good. He's going to be such a great centre back. I'm surprised they didn't recall him, but they might have not had an option. And it's someone like that, someone on that level that you can go, who's got the potential of being a top centre back, and you bring them in, and you just hone in their craft as you go along. That's what I think will happen if Shaw's not available, personally.
Yeah.
And it will be from Europe.
Yes. Yes. No, I agree. I do agree with that. Jono says, question, boys. I always thought Miley has a higher ceiling than Anderson. it will be very interesting in the coming seasons. They could be the future for England. Do you think? I mean, we spoke about it on the last show, didn't we? But sorry, it wasn't the Top Table Talk. I think it was the previous show, and we were saying, you know, as Louis Miley got an outside chance of the World Cup, and I think we all agreed, didn't we, that it's probably looking at Euro 2028. But you know, again, if he keeps churning out performances like this, I believe there is some international friendlies coming up. Is there an outside chance for Louis Miley? I mean, surely Thomas Tuchel's going to have watched that game. Surely.
Go on, that's gone.
No, we kind of covered it a lot the last day on the England shout, and yeah, I think what Pete was saying that it was around maybe right after the World Cup, but who knows with how it continues on for him. But he's definitely versatile. He's a utility player, but that's because we're thrown in the deep end. This is different in the World Cup for England rather than when injuries must playing in certain positions. I think that he's that he has a higher ceiling than Anderson. Personally, I still think I know if Anderson didn't move to Forest that time, I don't think he'd be that was the making of him, really. In honest.
Pete, you know, same question obviously, but I'm probably going to say players here, Pete, who aren't even in the England squad. You know, I'm not the biggest international fan in the world, but you know, if you're Thomas Tuchel, we know, don't we, that there's a set 11, and then obviously you rest a few players, and you take a 25-man squad, don't you? Is there more value in taking someone like Louis Miley, who may not get many minutes, but just purely knowing that he's going to be the future of English football? Is the value in taking him and having him under the likes of Dan Burn, under the likes of John Stones, under the likes of Ezri Konza and players like that? He may not get minutes, but how valuable will it be for him to be in and around that squad in a World Cup? How much, how much experience will that provide them?
100%. Like, I remember in the Euros that in the initial squad, Gareth Southgate did it with Adam Wharton. Took him after a really good season. Took him and put him in the squad. So if he can do that for Adam Wharton, he can absolutely do that for Louis Miley. Because if Louis Miley continues this second half of the season like he's done since the back half of this first part of the season, then there's no doubt he'll be in a conversation. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets called up, because, look, as I mentioned before on a previous show, England like calling up players that have been through the different age groups, the age brackets of England. They like to see players progress through the years. And Louis Miley's at the point where he's at the 21s now. So he's done his craft, and he's one of the senior players, along with Lewis Hall, that was in the last under 21s as well. So he's one of the senior players in that team now. There's an argument that if there's a couple of injuries, that England and Thomas Tuchel has already proven that he will take a chance on players. It'll give players an opportunity, like he did with Dan Burn. So, yeah, I think if there's a couple of injuries and there's an opportunity to take him, I think they absolutely will. But yeah, I would absolutely take him for that initial squad. I'm not sure he makes it for the World Cup, but I think they should take him for that initial squad, just to give him that experience. Give him that experience, a big kind of competition build up, and the training and the prep that needs to be done with that. Let him have a feel for what that means. Then, if he doesn't make it, fine. The World Cup happens, but then come September, when it's always a new start after a World Cup, players retire, managers and things move on, and there's a fresh start. Louis Miley should absolutely be part of that new build. With, I think, Declan Rice, what is he, 28 now? He's coming towards the latter end of his 20s. You've got other players that are coming in and doing decent jobs, but Louis Miley's the future. There's no doubt about it. He is the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right. Okay, where do I go? Right, we've got a super chat. I'll just quickly bring this up. Lee Robinson, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. Lee Robinson says they're going to sign Charlie Cresswell. Bookmark this. Yeah, I did see Charlie Cresswell being linked. He's playing in Europe somewhere, isn't he? I'm trying to remember the name of the team, but he's playing abroad. I'm sure he is. But yeah, Charlie Cresswell has been linked. I have seen the name, but yeah, thank you for that, Lee. No, I can't remember the club. It's abroad. It is abroad. If you're still in the chat, Lee, do tell us.
Toulouse.
Right.
Toulouse.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's right. Because he was linked alongside Dejan Matherly. There was the articles mostly that Craig Oates put out just put Dejan Matherly, but there was one article that I read. I think I might have actually clipped it that had both of those players being linked. Charlie Cresswell was another one. So yeah, that was it.
Okay. Boys, I need a one-word answer because we are going to wrap. I need a one-word answer. Okay.
I have something to end on as well.
I've got a couple I'm going to end on, Daz. One of them is aimed at you, mate, and I love it. Frieden says, can we catch Liverpool? Arsenal, Liverpool tomorrow. If they lose, we are 2 points behind. So, Daz, yes or no? Can we catch Liverpool?
It'd be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it?
Oh,
it would be brilliant. I think Arsenal win tomorrow, but I hope Arsenal don't falter now because there's a nice little gap. So, yeah, go on Arsenal tomorrow. Definitely behind them.
Pete, can we, yes or no?
We absolutely can. We can. Liverpool are not playing well at the moment. We've just got to keep winning matches. We've got to keep winning matches and ask the questions of every other team around us. Simple as that. One game at a time. Sounds boring, but boring gets you the results that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Just last comments before I come to the other two comments which I've been saving. Joelinton for life. Joelinton was outstanding tonight. Yes, he gives the ball away at times, but in general play, he was outstanding in defence and attack. Can't argue that, Joelinton for life. Cannot argue that, mate. But yeah, great comment. Now, Iron Mike says, that's the kind of results that turns your season around. Couldn't agree. I honestly, mate, couldn't agree anymore. Sum that up lovely. And then the final comment goes to Turpy. And Turpy says, 6th in the league, chat. Play the Champions League music, Daz, you beautiful Irish bastard.
Turpy, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? I don't think I can do that, Turpy.
You're going to play something, though, aren't you? I don't think he was going to.
Don't do it. Louder? Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's hard to believe it myself yet, but things are looking up. A long way to go. In Eddie we trust. Stop it. That's it for now. Right.
One game at a time, lads and lassies. One game at a time. Let's just take one game at a time. Come on.
I know someone that likes that. Right, I want to finish on this, boys. We're going to say, let's revisit the winning goal. I think I haven't looked at this properly, but let's end on this. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We will be back soon. And make sure you hit that like button on the way out. That's Loaded signing off. Let's watch out this one out.